Welcome back to the Badass Literature Society, where badasses come together to rate and review novels recommended by you. Hi, I'm Michael.
This is Barbara.
I'm Lauren.
And today we are doing a bonus episode talking about the books that we are most excited for that are coming out in 2023. So we'll go round robin. Each of us will talk about them. I should also say that they're in no particular order. We didn't organize them by release date or by the ones we're most excited or least excited for. So it's just a list of books that we are equally excited for. Would that be appropriate to say?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
All right. And Barbara, we'll let you kick us off.
Ooh. Okay, so mine is called The Black Queen by Jumata Emil, and it's coming out January 31st. So this is a little bit about it. Is the first Black homecoming queen is murdered in this small town, and her best friend, Duchess, sets out to prove that Tinsley, who was supposed to be the homecoming queen, did it. AKA, like, Tinsley's whole family, like, won this award, and her friend is the one who won it, and then she ends up being murdered. So I'm excited because murder. And that's pretty much it. It just sounds really interesting when I was reading about it, and I'm excited it comes out like in 2 weeks or something. I don't even know what day today is, but yeah. And it's a YA technically, so, but love all the themes about it.
Yay, YA.
Yay.
All right. My first book is a science fiction book called The Terraformers by Anna Lee Newitz. It actually comes out later this month on January 31st. A little bit about the book. It is 3 interrelated novellas that are all set on the same future planet that is an Earth-like planet. And it's talking about humanity needs to find a home, and it deals with terraforming and how capitalism will inevitably threaten that. The survival of our species on even a new planet. The description said biohacked planet rangers, sentient trains, robot, and feline reporters are among the varied cast of characters grappling with futuristic yet familiar conflicts. So I thought it sounded really interesting. It's from Tor, which I usually like most of the stuff they put out, and I'm really excited to read it.
So the first one that I picked was The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Shoxi. And it's coming out in February. And it basically, I can't remember what genre they kind of pitched it as, but kind of fantasy, talks about let me look at this, an heiress to a fortune, and it's got some love stories, and then basically they get married, but like one of the promises is that he won't pry into her past, right? But then she learns that her estranged aunt is dying, and they're forced to return to her home. And so then obviously it's really difficult for him to resist digging into her past. And I guess basically like what he finds is interesting, and talks about the bridegroom, so like her fiance or whatever, being forced to choose between reality and fantasy. So it kind of sounds like a good mix for me as far as like being more fantasy-esque, but also has that love story that I like. So yeah, I'm excited about it. It was on a couple different lists.
Yeah,
that I
saw this and I debated putting it on, but I was like, I'll leave it out because I have too many already. But I saw that. It sounds really interesting.
If anybody wants to recommend this one for the pod, I'd definitely read it. It's not one that I feel like I would normally choose
I'm
to
surprised.
read myself, but I felt like it was on a couple different lists, and it looks interesting to me, so.
I'd be down to read it too. It does sound interesting.
Yeah. Okay, my next one is called She is a Haunting by Trang Tan Tran, and that comes out February 28th of obviously 2023. And that one is Jade has to spend 5 weeks at her father's French colonial house. Yes, that just spells out "goes to me" in Vietnam, and discovers that the house is, of course, haunted, and there's more stuff, and it sounds spooky, and I love that. I'm trying to do like different genres. That's why the first one's about murder. This one's a little spooky, ghost vibes, and another YA as well. So I'm really excited for this one because of that.
All right, so my second thing on the list is actually a collection of books. For those of you that are also Brandon Sanderson fans, I'm sure you are also very excited about the Kickstarter that he did, and the fact that his 4 mystery books are coming out in 2023. The first one we already got. It just came out a couple weeks ago for us, so the Kickstarter, and then I think it's publicly released as of earlier this week, called Tress of the Emerald Sea. which was inspired by The Princess Bride and also deals with some pirate themes and sounds very interesting. The second book coming out later this year, I believe they're quarterly. The second book is called The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England. And it's an action-adventure story that came about from Sanderson's desire to write a Jason Bourne-like book, which sounds super interesting. We're talking like a Jason Bourne-style story inside like a fantasy world. So I'm very excited about that one as well. The third book is called Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, which is the third quarter book. And I believe this is the one that it actually takes place within the larger Cosmere, which is Sanderson's universe that a lot of his books take place in. It's a story told by one of the characters that I won't name because it could be spoilers if you're not very far in the other books. But I'm really excited for that one too. And then the final book that's coming out at the end of the year is called The Sunlit Man, which is a story told from the point of view of Wit's Apprentice, that's a character from the Stormlight Archive series, for those of you who aren't aware. And it's going to take place also in the Cosmere universe. So I'm super excited for all four of these books. I'm once we're done with this podcast book, I'm going to jump into Tress of the Emerald Sea as soon as possible.
Man, Sanderson must just be like churning out the books. Like I feel like has so many books already, and then like to have 4 come out in a year.
It's crazy. Like if you follow his blog and he posts videos and stuff as well, but like his writing style is just crazy. And he admits openly that like he doesn't think most people can write the way that he does, but he'll be writing like 3 or 4 different books at a time.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I feel like most authors focus on one so they don't get like.
Maybe Brandon Sanderson's ADHD.
He said he's always been like this. If you look at his website, you can see he has like a little chart in the bottom corner of it shows the progress of all like 5 or 6 different projects he's working on at any given time. It's crazy.
Or it could also be that he's had these ideas for a long time, has the draft and all the stuff outlined and everything prior to it. And now that he's a big author, he can actually write these stories. And
in the case of these mystery books, he wrote all of them during COVID, didn't tell anybody about them, and then thought it would be fun to do this mystery Kickstarter.
Oh, okay. So he's not like just pumping out the books like in.
Not in this case, no. But he's also got other books releasing this year too. Like a new Mistborn Saga book just came out earlier this year as well. So
he does guy. The next one that I put was The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth, and it comes out in April. And this one is kind of a thriller. So I'm really into like psychological thrillers / like mystery type novels, as if you listen normally you would know. And I kind of just want to read the little excerpt because it's pretty good and it's short. So it says, there's a cottage on a cliff, Gabe and Pippa's dream home in a sleepy coastal town. But their perfect house hides something sinister. The tall cliffs have become a popular spot for people to end their lives. Night after night, Gabe comes to their rescue, literally talking them off the ledge, until he doesn't. When Pippa discovers Gabe knew the victim, the question spiraled. Did the victim jump? Was she pushed? And would Gabe, the love of Pippa's life, her soulmate, lie? As the perfect facade of their marriage begins to crack, the deepest and darkest secrets begin to unravel. Dun, dun, dun.
The answer to her question is yes. Yes, he would lie.
Right. It's probably going to be one that would be easy to predict, but I like to read those kind of like, I don't know. It sounds good to me, so.
My next one is The Daughters of Izdahir by Hadir El-Spy, and that actually just came out on the 10th of January. And it was inspired by modern Egyptian history, and it follows 2 women who find they have more in common than they thought. So their struggle for the rights of women and their ability to fight for it with forbidden elemental magic. So like one is a water weaver and the other is an earth weaver. And I believe someone described it as like Avatar and then women's rights movement. And like those are 2 things I love. So I'm sold on this. I'm very excited for this book and excited to read it. Hopefully soon, but my TBR book list just keeps growing and growing and growing. But yes, this is one I'm very excited about, and I've heard very good things about it so far. So
it certainly sounds interesting. There are a lot of these that you guys are talking about that I was not aware of that I think we should potentially read for the podcast.
Well, people just need to request them.
That's true. Do that. Request them if you're listening to this right now.
I'll just do it as a bonus.
I was going to say, I'm people. I can request.
I'm people. We just make up random Instagram accounts and we can request the books we want to read.
I mean, technically you could do that. That feels a little shady.
Technically, that's a bit shady, not a little.
Yeah. Anyway, the next book I'm looking forward to is Only the Dead by Jack Carr. I can tell you that it comes out in April of this year, but I can't tell you much else about it because it's the 6th book in the James Reese series, which for those of you who aren't familiar with that, there's a TV show on Amazon Prime called The Terminal List that is based on the first novel. I'm only through 3 of them, so I didn't read about the synopsis of this one because I didn't want to spoil books 4 and 5 for myself. But I've been reading these pretty quickly, so I'm looking forward to this one coming out later this year.
Sounds like your type of book.
It's definitely my type of book. Yeah, it follows a Navy SEAL who does all sorts of crazy things. I mean, wow. Wow. I mean, technically, yeah, in the first book, there's a lot of murder, but...
So my next one is called The Book That Wouldn't Burn, and it's by Mark Lawrence, and it comes out in May. And it's basically about a boy that has lived his whole life trapped within a library, like an old library. And then a girl that lives in a tiny settlement out on the dust, and it says that's where nightmares stalk, and no one goes. And basically, these are like nobody people that nobody notices, but then all of a sudden their stories kind of cross, or their worlds and time crosses. And I think it's basically the description is pretty vague, and I think that's probably intentional. But it talks about, like, though the pen may be mightier than the sword, blood will be spilled and cities burned. And so...
That sounds good, too.
Yeah, it sounds interesting, and it also sounds like a good... Look at me, guys. You should be so proud that I'm choosing, like...
I was going to say, I'm surprised
I was about to say
you like
that.
fantasy books in your list. I'm shooketh.
I'm shooketh. Yeah, so this was another one that I was like, that sounds like more fantasy-esque. Not like your level of fantasy, Michael, but...
But you're a convert now. You like
But it is. It's like a crossover.
Fantasy and sci-fi.
It's a crossover, is what it seems like to me. And so, I think that it sounds good. And I think that a couple of the people that had pre-read it or whatever said that it was a quick read. So that's always enticing to me as well, when people think that it's, something that you just don't want to put down. So...
My next one is A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. Comes out February 28th. And this is a standalone prequel to The Priory of the Orange Tree. And I believe it follows 3 women, one of them which is obviously part of the Priory, and then 2 others. And I know that this time around there's not dragons, but there's dragons in the covers. I'm hoping that we get some more dragons, because the cover, like the book covers of these books, is what drew me in. And I was slightly disappointed in the first one because there's not as much dragons as I wanted to. So I'm hoping this one has more dragons, but
don't get your hopes too high.
I know. I'm trying to not, keep a very neutral turn, feelings for the dragon, but I'm just a girl who loves dragons, and I just want to read about them, so sue me. But I am excited for the Badass Women, because I think she did a hell of a good job writing at least the women characters in the Priory. So I'm excited to go back, because I really enjoyed the world, and I feel like we didn't get too much of it. So I'm hoping maybe with this prequel that we will get more of that. And I really enjoyed the Priory aspect of it, so I'm curious to know more about that culture of the book. So I'm excited for this one because of that. And so
I'm also excited for that one. I really enjoyed the first one. Let's see. Next on my list is Song of Silver, Flame of Night by Amelie Wen Zhao. This is the first of, I believe, a planned trilogy that she's going to be writing. And I think this sounds really interesting because the story jumps out at me because it's a typical fantasy story in some ways, but also with some twists. And it sounds really cool. And it's based and inspired by the mythology and folklore of ancient China, which is different. And I'm excited to explore and get into that. But it also just sounds like a really, really interesting story about, this girl named Lan who has her kingdom invaded by conquerors, and they kill her mother and ban her people from doing magic and take her name. And so she has to rise from all of that and conquer the conquerors. I'm guessing. I don't know what's going to happen at the end. But
sounds interesting.
It sounds really cool.
Yeah. I'm excited to see more books like this in the fantasy genre, which isn't just based on European fantasy. Like, it's exciting to have these books finally be out more in the public eye versus where it used to be. You kind of had to find them like hole in the wall type stuff. If you weren't really looking, you wouldn't find them. So
from what I've read about this one, it sounds like it's going to have a really deep magic system, which is something I really enjoy. So I'm really excited for this one. I'll definitely be reading it when it comes.
Define deep magic system, Michael. Like, what does that mean? Deep.
A deep magic system? Do you really want me to define it, or are you just being weird?
I'm just making fun of you.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just a funny way to describe it.
I would like a definition.
Deep.
You want to know what a deep magic system is, Lauren?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so a deep magic system means that the author has taken the time to actually develop a very intricate and intensive magic system instead of just the wizard casted a pyromancy spell. There'll be like intricate spells and the components they need, and different communities or cultures in the world will have different styles of magic, and it's just there's much more to it. They'd spend a lot more time developing the magic system. That's all that really means.
Gotcha.
A good example, which you didn't read, but a good example would have been the Mistborn books and the very intricate magic system in that book that Brandon Sanderson wrote.
I think intricate's a better word than deep. Deep's just kind of sounds weird, personally.
Shit's getting deep in here, guys.
So, Lauren, what's your next book?
It's deep because we have to dive in, right?
Oh,
If you've been with us for some time, you would get that reference, and if you're new, gotta go back and listen. Michael used to start every episode with "Let's dive in."
I did. I used that phrase more than I probably should have, but.
Anyway, my next one is called All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham, and this one probably will surprise you guys less. It says it comes out in January. I can't remember when specifically, so it could already be out. It's basically about a lady. So I don't know if I actually want to read this because it's kind of close to home, but her toddler son is taken from his crib in the middle of the night, which is terrifying, while she and her husband were asleep in the next room. And basically there's not any evidence and there's no leads. So then like the case goes cold. But she basically obviously can't rest until they figure out what happened. And I guess it's literally, so she hasn't slept except for an occasional cat nap or blackout for like a year. And her entire
ass
existence
would be dead by now.
Right? So like it says like her entire existence basically revolves around finding him. So I'm picturing like the crazy lady with like the push pins on the wall with all the strings
the red
and the post-its
connecting everything.
So she's probably just like out of her mind in that. And then basically she, I guess, interviews with this true crime podcaster to try and like reignite this cold case. And doing that, I guess, makes her question herself and actually what happened that
I was going
night.
to say, this sounds like an unreliable narrator.
Yes. So, because it says basically it talks about her insomnia and like he has incessant questioning. And so it brings up memories from her own childhood and she starts to question her recollection of that night. So to me, it's like, is it predicted? It's going to be one of those ones that like twisty turny, like, I don't know, right up my alley. So I'm excited for it.
I like when authors do unreliable narrators because it's like you really can't obviously rely on anything they say. It's an interesting take on it.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, it might already, I need to look it up, I guess, but I think it might already be out. It might be out. It's just January, but gosh,
this
it doesn't
book came out in November of 2022, actually. Sorry.
It did not. But I do sometimes forget we're halfway through January already, not gonna lie. So
a couple of ours came out, I think, this month already. So
a couple of ours. Only one of mine. I don't know what you're talking about.
One of mine did, and then the very first one I said comes out at the end of the month, so it's like super quick as well.
But it's not. It hasn't come out yet.
So one of mine has already come out.
Okay, there we go. My next one is The Sun and the Void by Gabriela Romero Lacruz. That comes out in July. It's one of the later ones, I believe, for me. July 25th. So this is inspired by the history and folklore of South America, which I'm super, 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 super excited about because you rarely get to hear about this. And I'm once again excited that more Latinx authors are being in the forefront. And that makes me really excited being a Latinx person myself. Anyways, it follows two women as they both search for belonging, family, and of course there's magic because I still enjoy that kind of stuff. So there's Reina. She needs to rely on her grandmother's dark magic for life because she pretty much gets saved by it. So then she has to use it, or she dies. while Eva needs to resist the call of magic while protecting her family's image because she is, what is it called? Not legitimate, bastard. Is that what's the other
illegitimate
term?
Illegitimate child.
Yeah. So there's that, and it just sounds really exciting. And I'm excited for this one because dark magic and just magic in general, I enjoy that shiz, and then the setting, of course. Like I'm really really excited to read about that. So
yeah, that one sounds good.
I think I pretty much showed you the synopses, Michael, and you said you were excited to read it.
You did.
too.
I looked at your list and you'd showed me a lot of the books that you picked already. Yep. Next on my list is The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty.
I also had that on my list, but I figured I'd let you talk about it since you had less books. So
fair enough.
I too am excited about this because Pirates.
So yeah, it's Pirates. And if you recognize the name of that author, you should, because it's She Wrote the City of Brass series, which we read the first book of. If I remember right, Lauren actually loved that book, The City of Brass. Yeah. But yeah, so this one's it's a new trilogy. This is the first one. It comes out in July of this year, and it just sounds awesome. I'm going to read the little synopsis that I have here because it really just paints a cool picture for this book. Amina al-Sarafi is a legend. Her career lives on in varied stories all across the Indian Ocean. It's not common for notorious pirates to retire in peace, but that's exactly what she's doing, until the wealthy mother of one of her former crew shows up with a job she can't refuse. Amina is tempted by more than money. She's missed her old life and her crew. Besides, maybe this way she can right the wrongs her demon ex-husband inflicted and ease the guilt she feels from one ill-fated night. One last job and her family's future will be secure. Except nothing's ever that easy.
So you said
so it's like,
it comes out in March, by the way.
I thought it was July. I was literally just looking at it.
No.
Yeah, it's July 6th. I'm looking at Goodreads. July 6th, 2023.
Well, it says March 7th on the online.
Oh, well, can we confirm that then so we're not lying to our listeners? While you're doing that, I'm going to tell people I'm really excited about this book because obviously it's pirates. It's she's a demon ex-husband. There's so much going on here, and it sounds really good. And if it's even half as good as the City of Brass book was, then I'm in. And apparently, so is Barbara.
I'm really really excited for this. So well, on Google it says February, which is weird. Yeah, and Amazon is saying February 28th as well. So I feel like we're getting conflicting information here because now Barnes and Noble is saying February 28th, but the list I looked it up said March. So maybe they moved it up.
They might have like a pre-release or something, like a pre-sale
publication date on Amazon though. I don't know. So maybe it comes out at the end of February. Maybe it comes out at the beginning of March. Maybe it comes out in July. We'll all find out together as the year unfolds. In any case, it comes out in 2023, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's really weird. It's different everywhere. But I mean, that's what we said. Like these are tentative dates because they can literally change it whenever they feel like it. So I wonder if that's what happened.
It could be. I mean, could have just pushed it up or pushed it back, maybe one or the other. Yeah.
Yeah.
My next one comes out in 2 days, and it is called What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. And this one is categorized as a paranormal thriller, which sounds really interesting to me. It's basically like there are some 11-year-olds, 3 friends. They were attacked in the woods that they used to go in and play in, and it says that they believed in magic or whatever, so they used to play a game in the woods with magic, but it's really vague. And then it basically says, like, one of them was attacked, and they were able to identify her attacker as a wanted serial killer, and that person was sent to prison. But then it just says that the girls didn't tell the full truth. And so for decades, they kept a secret worth killing for. And now one of the friends wants to tell what really happened. And it sounds really interesting. So
that sounds really interesting. I'm intrigued.
Yes, because it's not just your typical whodunit killer one. Yeah. It also has that paranormal piece, which is intriguing to me.
I like that.
Yeah.
That does sound really interesting. I agree.
Comes out in 2 days.
There's so many books.
I know.
Yeah. I don't really know what it's called because she hasn't said anything, but the last of the Realmbreaker series by Victoria Aveyard, and sometime in the summer. She hasn't said anything about it. I'm assuming it's coming out this year because the first one came out 2 years ago. second one came out last year, and I feel like she's doing it yearly. So I'm just going to predict sometime that. But I'm really excited to finish up the series and see what happens with all my lovable characters. And I'm hoping she doesn't Victoria Aveyard any characters that I really like, but I have a bad feeling she's going to because Victoria Aveyard, and I've read her other books.
She's going to. It's going to happen.
I know, and I don't want anyone to die. And if you read the other books, you know what I'm talking about, because we've done podcasts over both of them. It's just, yes, I'm really excited for it.
So, Lauren, if you FaceTime Barbara while she's reading this book and she's just sobbing, then you'll know. You'll know.
But yeah, I think honestly, I feel like her writing has only gotten better with each book, and I'm really excited to finish this one out in its epicness that is going to be. And I'm also ready to be devastated. So
devastate me.
Exactly. But really don't, please.
But actually, please don't.
But actually, let's not.
Yeah. My next one is another sci-fi book. A lot of good sci-fi coming out. It's called Some Desperate Glory by Emily Tesh. It comes out in April of 2023. It is a queer space opera exploring the themes of war, found family, and fighting for who you are when all your choices are taken away. It's a debut book by this author, so I don't really know what I'm getting into with the author, but the story sounds super interesting. I can read the little snippet, I guess. Years ago, an all-powerful, reality-shaping weapon helped the Majota defeat humanity. Now living aboard the Gaia station, Kier has trained all her life to take revenge. She's the best warrior of her generation, but command still sends her to the nursery to bear sons until she dies.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Determined to be the sword for a dead planet, Kier makes a pair of unlikely allies and sets off into a universe that is nothing like what she was taught and beyond what she could ever imagine.
Interesting.
It's got a dark
sons until you die, man.
It's got a dark twist in that aspect, but I think
Handmaid's Tale over here. Let me just pop out.
It sounds really interesting. I'm excited for it. So yeah, April of 2023. Some Desperate Glory by Emily Tesh.
My next one comes out March 28th, and it is a paranormal Southern Gothic horror. Is the genre. A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. Basically, the premise is that a daughter goes back home for an extended stay with her mom. She's looking forward to, their usual drinking boxed wine, watching murder mysteries, mom time. Her mom, I guess, lives alone, so she must be single. But she walks in and the mom has painted all the walls white, and there's an eeriness about the place. And I guess she notices her mom is different. She's jumping at small noises. She's looking over her shoulder even when she's the only person in the room. And then Sam, this main character, finds a jar of teeth out back hidden beneath a magazine-worthy rose bush. Vultures circle above the yard. So she's basically on this new search to figure out why her mom is so scared in her own home and what the hell happened since she was there last time. So yeah, the tagline at the end is Sam will go digging for the truth, but sometimes secrets are best left buried. So definitely sounds like my kind of book. I'm curious to see what the paranormal part will be. Obviously, it's probably some haunted house vibes. Yeah. Southern Gothic horror, though, sounds great. I just love a good scary
Lauren, the
story.
last Southern Gothic horror book we read, we all hated. Remember?
But that wasn't horror, was it? I thought that was just Southern Gothic.
No.
But it was titled as a Southern Gothic horror novel.
Damn, you're right, Michael.
I will never read that genre ever again because of that man.
Maybe now I shouldn't read this one.
Maybe this will bring honor to the.
Maybe it'll bring
the
honor
genre.
back.
Bring it back in, because that actually did sound kind of interesting, Lauren. I won't lie. It's honestly not always my cup of tea, but I thought it sounded interesting.
Well, now I'm hesitant. I forgot that was the same genre as that lovely book.
But it's a different author,
That's
so
true.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see. I've got a long TBR list, so who's to say I'll even read it? But it is one that I would like to read. Maybe.
A long TBR list is a theme in this on this podcast, I think. So.
Okay, so the last one for me is Lying in the Deep by Diana Urban, and I believe it's projected to come out sometime May 2nd. And this one is a juicy mystery of jealousy, love, and betrayal set on a semester at sea-inspired cruise ship with a diverse cast of delightfully suspicious characters who will leave you guessing with every dropping twist. So, that sounds amazing. You get to go on an adventure, 11 countries in 4 months. Like, you can't beat that. Is that actually a thing? Is that like a semester on a cruise ship? Or
Yes, I actually looked into doing that when I
but
was
like,
in college.
what kind of thing do you have to get? Like, what degree is that? Like a
They
cruise
have
thing?
programs for a lot of different degrees, but a lot of it's business. But they have a lot of other opportunities as well. I had some friends in college that actually did that and said it was awesome.
Yeah, that sounds really fun. This sounds interesting. I like cruise ships. I like traveling. I like murder.
Yeah,
So-
effectively, you travel the world while like you learn.
This is my second book where I said I've enjoyed murder. Not me murdering, reading about other murders. Which is ironic.
You heard her, and if I go missing, you'll know.
Oh,
You should know first
it's
person to look at.
Not me.
They always look at the significant other first.
Yeah, it is always the significant other first, but it's good. I know how to hide my trail. No, just
Wow.
I don't think
Wow.
I'm selling myself well here. But
He's
anyway,
selling Michael some Apple AirTags to put in all his shoes and his stuff, so that when he goes missing, we can find him.
You can find him. Yeah.
I've never understood when people go murder people. Like, you do realize your cell phone's a GPS like signal at this point. You have to leave it at home. You can't turn it off because if you turn it off, that's too suspicious.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. Have I thought about this? No.
Clearly, look out for Barbara. Don't get on her bad list.
Right.
Okay. Well.
You don't want to be on Barbara's terminal list.
Right.
Earlier reference.
Okay. Yeah, that's mine.
My last book is more of like just putting this out in the universe as a hopeful maybe, and it's Winds of Winter by George R.R. Martin.
That man's gonna die before he finishes this
And
book
no,
series.
hold on. Now the reason it's not announced to come out this year, so it's a
No.
huge maybe. Fingers crossed. But he did announce in October or November, one of the months in fall last year, that he's 3/4 of the way through. So
Good
maybe
for him. For how long? 10
maybe
years?
he'll finish
Years.
it and he'll put it out.
Uh-huh.
I'm just putting it out there.
How
I hope
old is
that he
this guy?
finishes it.
Good for you. You manifest that, baby boy. You manifest that. It's not
The
gonna
Winds of
happen.
Winter. It's the Game of Thrones series, Lauren. It's the book, the 6th book in the Game of Thrones series
Oh.
that it's never been. It's taken him forever to write. And
Yeah. I mean, he's
No.
older, but not old. But he's also, like, he doesn't look like he's in good health, but he claims that he is because he got, like, a
Put-
little doctor's note to prove it. And I was like, okay. I'm like,
Just
I
put it
can
out
lie
there.
and have my
I-
doctor say that too, bro.
I hope it comes out. I'm just being hopeful.
Yeah.
That's it.
I love it. I love this for your vision board. Love it.
I just pictured Michael like happily scrapbooking, like cutting out things out of magazines, like for his little vision board.
I don't have a vision board.
There's nothing wrong with a vision board,
No.
I
it's a
didn't
good
say that
thing.
there was.
There's a good thing to have. Don't
but
let
I
you have
got a
vision
great
board.
mental picture of Michael, like, oh boy.
I'm all a little excited.
I'm glad you're enjoying that.
And then Barbara slowly goes and puts push pins through all his dreams.
Now
People's
it's getting
eyeballs.
realistic. Now it's, oh wow,
Okay.
wow.
Anyway, so my last one doesn't come out till June 27th. So, and that just says expected publication. So I don't know that that's even like a set in stone one. But it is the Invocations by Crystal Sutherland. And this is pitched as fantasy, horror, young adult. Fantasy young adult horror kind of, but like when I
Ooh.
looked it up, it actually said it was like witchy thriller. So I don't know. There's a lot of genres at
I
play
like
here.
this. Tell me more.
So I'm just gonna read the little Goodreads synopsis because it's hard to summarize, I guess. So Zara Jones believes in magic because the alternative is too painful to bear, that her sister was murdered by a serial killer and that there is precisely nothing she can do to change it. If there's anything Zara cannot stand, it's feeling powerless, so she decides she will do whatever it takes, even if that means partaking in the occult, to bring her sister back from the dead. Jude Wolfe might be the daughter of a billionaire, but she is also undeniably cursed. After a deal with a demon went horribly wrong, her soul is now slowly turning necrotic. So this is where like the fantasy stuff kind of comes in, I guess.
Yeah.
Flowers and insects die in her wake, and monstrous things come to taunt her at night. If Jude can't find the right someone to fix her mistakes, she fears she will die very soon.
Sounds good.
Enter
Sounds real
Immer-
good.
I know, right?
Where'd you find this?
I was just looking, but
Oh.
enter Immer Brine, the solution to both Zara and Jude's predicaments. The daughter of a witch, Emer sells spells to women in desperate situations, willing to sacrifice part of their soul in exchange exchange for a bit of power, a bit of magic to change their lives. But Emmer has a dark past all her own, and as her former clients are murdered one by one, she knows it's followed her all the way to London. As Zara and Jude enter Emmer's orbit, they'll have to team up to stop the killer before they each end up next on the list. So yeah, I really want to read this one. But it doesn't come out till June, but I'm excited for it. I think it's like it has all of like the genres that I normally really like.
Yes.
Like suspense, thriller, mystery, killing, but then also
Murder.
like murder, but also fantasy and paranormal stuff and horror. So it's got a little bit of everything.
Ooh, this sounds real fun. I just Googled it.
So if if we get a random Instagrammer recommending a book, might be this one, and it's definitely not me. Okay.
No, we would never dream of doing this.
So that is our list of just a handful of books that we are excited for in 2023. If you have a book that you're excited for in 2023 that we have not talked about, let us know. If you're excited about one of the books we're excited for, let us know, and then freaking recommend it on Instagram so we can read it and review it, and you can listen to us talk about it.
Unless it's a crappy book, then don't. Just don't.
Maybe skip over the gothic one because that's just iffy.
In any case, make sure you're following Badass Literature for free in your favorite podcast app. Give us a rating and leave us a review if they allow you to. That's really important to us. It lets us know how we're doing. It also helps our podcast get seen. Also, don't forget to be following us on social media if you're not already. Our username is @BadassLitPod on both Instagram and Facebook.
Have feedback about today's episode? Well, you can contact us by writing to badassliteraturesociety@gmail.com. You can also send us a DM or leave a comment on Instagram or Facebook. Please, we're begging you.
And with that, we will see you guys later this month for our full review episode. And with that, we'll see you guys later this month for our full review. I'm Michael.
I'm Barbara.
And I'm Lauren. Bye.
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 So my
All right,
last one, Michael has one more.
Just fuck me, right? I guess I...
You can't say that. I have to edit that out now. No
Aw.
F-bombs, Michael.
No F-bombs,
Right.
Michael.
We have one F-bomb.
We can cut off me cutting you off anyway.
It's a PG-13.
I'm Barbara. What the fuck was that?
What was
Did you hear
that?
that?
Yes.
I
It
didn't hear
sounded like
anything.
blah, blah, blah,
It was
blah.
like,
I didn't hear anything.
I did.
I didn't.
We'll have to play back the recording and see whose mic that came from.
I'm Lauren. Bye.
Let's try that again because that's going to be a nightmare for Barbara to edit.
It
Either
will
that or I
be.
just mark this episode explicit and we roll with it. So with that, I'm Michael.
I'm Barbara.
Okay, again. Good Lord.
That's some good bloopers on this one.
Come on, people.